Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Fridays, wherever you may be across this great country or this great land. Want to thank you for keeping Outkick in the highest realms of the iTunes podcast chart all week long, all month long, really. We're the number 5 show in America, as I saw this morning. This show right here, which is live on Periscope, which is live on Facebook, which is on YouTube. The audio version of this show has been one of the 20 biggest sports podcasts for the month of July. There is a lot of positivity out there, and I want to tell you, if you want to go ahead and sign up for Outkick VIP, now's a good time. Right now, we just added Dr. Chow, who is writing lots of very interesting articles about medical-related issues as we come back into the world of sports. If you want to be an Outkick VIP, best way you can sign up is there. I'm going to have tomorrow a VIP special Zoom call. That's only for the VIPs. You'll be able to listen in, ask questions. It's a little bit of an experiment, but it's exclusive for the Outkick VIPs. We're going to be doing these on a regular basis, me and Jason Whitlock and other writers. And if that sounds intriguing to you and you want to sign up and you want to support, and you want to be able to comment, you want to be able to call the radio show, and you want to be able to interact on our Outkick VIP message board, that is where you need to be. Get hooked up now, roll out, and you will be glad that you did it. Sign up for Outkick VIP today. All right, coronavirus. It appears that despite all of the panic, the coronavirus has now peaked as well, according to the data, in Texas and in Arizona, and is on the backside of the outbreak there, and that both of these states, along with Florida, are going to have a fraction of the death rate of what should be the biggest story still in all of America. The worst decision by any politician in the 21st century, worse than going to war in Iraq, worse than any other decision that has been made. Andrew Cuomo's decision to roll all the patients back into nursing homes. That decision, which was copied by the governors of New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all of the states that have massive death rates made the decision that Andrew Cuomo pioneered of sending sick patients back to nursing homes because they were afraid of overloading the hospitals there. And so, this is the worst decision that has been made by any elected official by far. And so long as Florida, Texas, and Arizona don't copy it, their death rate is going to be a fraction of the death rate that occurred in New York. And hopefully, when we see these side by side, and when we have the same number of confirmed cases in Texas and in Florida as they had in New York, somebody's going to take a step back and say, wait a minute, why in the world did New York do so poorly compared to these states in the South? And the answer will be because Andrew Cuomo made the most disastrous decision for any elected official in the 21st century in America. All right? It's a no-brainer, pretty straightforward, easy to follow. All right? That should be the number one story in America, but it is not because the media is not covering this story in an honest perspective, and instead CNN is out there trying to turn him into a Nobel Prize winner by putting him on every night with his brother. All right? That is the coronavirus update. Positive. Major League Baseball, in the world of sports, has been testing its players. Major League Baseball is going to return to play on Thursday. Almost no positive test. All right? Let me repeat that. Major League Baseball, latest tests, almost no positive players. Southeastern Conference, Greg Sankey came on my radio program Wednesday, said there were almost no positive tests across all SEC athletes. And I want to give the SEC credit here. The SEC just released a statement saying any athlete that's on scholarship in the fall and doesn't want to actually play gets to keep their scholarship. The NCAA should take a step over on top of that and say, also, we will grant a medical redshirt to any athlete that doesn't want to play because their parents or themselves believe they aren't safe. Now, I don't think there are going to be very many athletes that would take that opportunity, but it should be yet another reason to combat the Corona Bros who have decided to all align and attack the idea of a college football season. If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. You get to keep your scholarship. You get to count it as a medical redshirt season. For those of you not familiar with it, a medical redshirt season is one that does not count against your eligibility. And then you get to come back theoretically next year when we have a vaccine and there's no danger in the event that that's actually going to be in play. That is the right decision. Credit to the SEC. I think the Big Ten has also announced it, maybe the Pac-12. Every school across the country should embrace it, okay? Now, a lot of you have been saying, why is the college football media as a group so opposed to the idea of playing college football? It's because, let me be straightforward, it's because they hate Donald Trump. And Pat Forty is entitled to his own opinion. He writes at SI, he actually wrote that. If college football isn't played, it's going to be Donald Trump's fault. He actually said that. That's his right. He has the right to his opinion. I like Pat. He's a good dude. But I think he's 100% wrong. If you really want to blame somebody, you should probably blame China. And then if you want to blame American politicians, you should probably blame the governors of all the states with massive death rates. That's who I would believe you need to focus on. But the bigger issue here is the Corona Bros have lost in battling for sports not to come back. I just want you to listen to me. This is a pretty close to exhaustive list of sports that have either returned or are going to return very soon. Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NHL, NBA, MLS, PGA, WNBA, UFC, National Women's Soccer League, PBA, that's professional bowling, boxing, NASCAR, the Kentucky Derby is happening in September, Indy 500, and the National Lacrosse League, whatever that is called. All of those sports are able to play, all right? And I'm going to keep making this argument because the Corona Bros don't have a good response to it, all right? There are three answers for why they argue that there shouldn't be college football this fall, all right? The PGA was in that list. First of all, they say it's not safe. And I just ask you this right off the top. Explain to me why it isn't safer for a player to be on a college campus than it is for them to be off a college campus. Nobody can answer this. If you don't feel like it's safe, why is a college athlete who is being tested daily, who has access to the best doctors in their state on a college campus, not safer on a college campus than they would be if they were off the college campus? All right? Somebody tell me why that is not the case. College kids are clearly safer, athletes in particular, on a campus than they are off a campus, all right? Next step is they're not professionals. Well, the SEC just fired back at that idea by saying, hey, if you don't want to play for health-related reasons, you don't have to. You should have the right to play if you want to, and that is what is going on right now across all of college football, okay? What about everybody else? People say, oh my God, what about everybody else? It is not safer at home for everybody else because many of these kids live in multi-generational homes, which means they are around elderly people more at home than they are on a college campus where they're mostly surrounded by young kids who have almost zero actual risk. If you are older, and by the way, the data all reflects that the most likely place to have the virus spread is in a household as opposed to walking around on a college campus, okay? So, if you are concerned about older teachers or older coaches, they have the right to have not work this fall. All of the data out there, all of the data is out there, and they are safer on college campuses than they would be off college campuses. The game itself, if you don't want to play, you can redshirt for the season. This is a no-brainer. The Corona Bros have no answer for it. and they all look like idiots running around arguing that college football shouldn't happen because it's the last sport that they have a chance to stop. Now, this is wild to me. It's like these people in the college football media don't understand basic economics. If college football doesn't happen, they're all going to lose their jobs. Like, I want college football to happen because I'm a sports fan. But if college football doesn't happen, I'll be fine. Outkick is going to continue to roll. We are dominating. Our business is killing it. And that's going to continue to happen. But for a lot of these people out there running around sharing every positive test like it's the worst day of their life, a lot of them are going to lose their jobs. And then they're going to get on Twitter and they're going to be like, oh, I got laid off. And people are going to be like, yeah, because you just spent the last 6 months arguing that the sport you cover shouldn't exist. This is just lunacy across the board. There's no reason to argue that sports shouldn't be back, including college football. All right? Redskins. So some of you know this, and I talked about it some this morning on the radio show. In my prior life, I was a lawyer who investigated sexual harassment claims. I would come into a company when somebody made a sexual harassment claim. I would interview everybody. I would write up a report for the company to try to figure out whether or not it was actually true. Okay? And so what I look at from the Washington Redskins perspective is I've been involved in investigations like these. It appears the 5 people that were involved in inappropriate behavior with the Washington Redskins are no longer there, and that Dan Snyder is not directly connected to any misbehavior himself. As that appears to be the case, then I don't see how the NFL is going to be able to force out Dan Snyder. I think he needs to clean up the culture inside of the Washington Redskins. He also needs to win a few more football games. But if you look at what happened with Mark Cuban, the NBA allowed Mark Cuban to keep his team despite what was an infinitely worse situation inside of the Mavericks. And this is not analogous to the Jerry Richardson situation with the Carolina Panthers because Jerry Richardson's behavior himself was involved. And so I think what's going to happen here is that Dan Snyder is going to have to clean house some, but that ultimately he is going to continue to own this team as we go forward. And I'm not sure that there is going to be any additional impact. I do think this factored in with the decision by Dan Snyder to change the name of the Redskins. I think he knew this story was coming. He knew he was under assault over the Redskins name, and he decided he couldn't fight a two-front war, and so he decided to go ahead and change the name. But that's how I would break down the latest on the Redskins. You guys may claim that you're not interested, but SI has a 56-year-old swimsuit model. She looks phenomenal for 56 years old. And I tweeted out the link, and you guys almost broke the site coming to look at her pictures. So I love when people say in the comments, I don't know why you're posting X, Y, or Z, and then I can literally sit in front of the Google tracker and watch everybody come rolling in to look at pictures of her. I'm amazed that in this day and age, SI still has relevancy when it comes to the swimsuit issue, when there are pictures of women all over the internet. I understand back in the day when I was a kid and the SI swimsuit issue would come and you were 13 or 14 years old and you didn't have the internet out there and you maybe didn't have access to the old school Playboy or any of the pornography magazines that were out there. But this was an unbelievable scene to see everybody come rushing in. There's a lot of interest in her. Props to that 56-year-old SI swimsuit model that nearly is capable of breaking the Outkick site. Finally, James Harden yesterday wore a Blue Lives Matter mask. Did you guys see this story? Supporters of police started the hashtag a few years ago, Blue Lives Matter. And they have their own version of masks. And so James Harden wore one last night, and NBA Twitter lost its mind over the idea that a player might believe that police officer lives matter. I want to think about how crazy that is on social media. James Harden is trending on Twitter. The NBA media, the same NBA media that hasn't been able to ask or willing to ask any players about China since all of the Hong Kong drama went down, since those videos, which appear to show effectively Nazi-style concentration camp movements going on for the Muslim minorities who are in a concentration camp there, millions of them. Since those videos went viral, and since everything related to the FU from Woj, which happened last week, no players that I'm aware of have been asked about China or about Hong Kong. But the minute a player wears a Blue Lives Matter mask, the NBA media swarms him to ask whether he is truly saying Blue Lives Matter. And I want you to think about how crazy this is in the world of media where we are right now, that if a NBA player supports police lives, that is considered unacceptable by NBA fans on social media. I want you to think about how crazy that is for a minute. An NBA player who is saying, hey, I don't want police to die, I support them, is considered unacceptable by NBA Twitter. And so as you actually run through this is absolutely insane. Now, James Harden said, I wasn't trying to send any message, I just liked the mask. But I would have loved to see the reaction if James Harden had actually said, yeah, I'm a big believer in police and I want them to be safe because the truth of the matter is this: they are saving far more lives than they are causing deaths. And this is what the data reflects across the entire country. We got to stop demonizing police in this country. We got to let them do their jobs, and we got to let them protect lives, white, black, Asian, and Hispanic. Some police are bad. They should be punished. Just like some people are bad, and they should be punished for it. But this idea that if you are an NBA player and you support police, that somehow that's an unacceptable position is frankly insanity. It boggles my mind. We should all be supporting the police, just like we should all be supporting innocent people who don't deserve to be victims of police. I don't understand how this is an unacceptable opinion to have. It's where the vast majority of the country is and should be. Most police do a fabulous job protecting our lives across this country. Some police do not. The tiny minority of police who abuse the power they are given and take out their power upon innocent people should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But we shouldn't be demonizing the vast majority of police who are out there every day saving tens of thousands of lives in this country. And if you doubt me, look at the shooting rates in Chicago, New York City, Baltimore, Atlanta, LA. All of these cities are seeing skyrocketing shooting rates as police have been demonized. We know what happens when people defund the police. Murders increase, and the people who are being murdered are overwhelmingly minority. And so this is frustrating to me that we're basically going back in time. Bill Clinton was a Democrat and realized if you put more police on the streets, there will be more lives saved. He was correct. Taking away police is 100% going to lead to death. And it's most likely going to lead to minority deaths because that's the vast majority of people who are being killed in this country. This is complete lunacy. I hope all of you have fantastic weekends. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Thank you for making Outkick such a dominant media force already. Go read what I write. Go read what Jason Whitlock writes. Go read what Dr. David Chow has. We got a podcast network that's going to debut soon. Go subscribe to Outkick the Show and to the Outkick the Coverage podcast. I will be back on Monday on the radio show. And I'll let you know this as well. We will have a great radio show on Monday, but I'm going to be doing a VIP Zoom session on Saturday on our message board. If you're an Outkick VIP, go check it out. All right. Love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. Kisses. See you guys. Bye. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. See y'all.